Alexis here with Living by Intention. Today we're making vegan mac and cheese that's also gluten-free. So I'm super excited to share my secret sauce with you and what makes this a yummy and healthy alternative. So right now we just have a pot full of water, about 3/4 full of water, a little bit of avocado oil to prevent everything from sticking, and that's gonna get to a rolling boil. Then we're gonna add the pasta. This pasta here is a Banza brand, which you can find almost anywhere these days. This is a Banza chickpea pasta. The shells for our nostalgic purposes, right? Who doesn't like shells and cheese, as my little niece would call it? Shells and cheese, Daddy, please. Now we can do healthy shells and healthy cheese and still make them happy. Some other ingredients that we have today, just to kind of go over everything. We've got these organic pea shoots, which I love. You can use any organic sprouts or greens, you know, whatever you've got. I definitely prefer the crunch of sprouts. They're just wonderful. Microgreens in general are such a great way to get your greens in. They're tasty, they're simple, and they have a little pop to them, which I love. Here we've got some nutritional yeast. So this you can find in the bulk food section of stores. If there's a bulk section, there's typically going to be nutritional yeast there. This is what all the vegans use for that cheesy flavor, right? And it's even the color of the cheese that we're used to naturally, which is great. If you can't find it, you can also find it Bragg's. The brand Bragg's has this available in a plastic container that you can kind of just dust on top of whatever. Again, today we're using this as an ingredient to make our cheese, all right? I also have some raw cashews here. So why raw? First of all, when shopping for nuts, it's really, really important to pay attention to what the nuts are dusted in, what kind of oils were they roasted in, XYZ, right? Because you can get a serving of nuts and you're still going to get sugar, you're still going to get a lot of unhealthy salts, a lot of unhealthy oils, even in your health food stores. So this is an important thing to remember. That's why I stick with the raw nuts. Typically, you can get raw nuts around $4.99 to $6.99 per pound at Trader Joe's. So that's my go-to. As you see, everything is in a kind of bulk way because, again, this is also a sustainable company, Living by Intention, and my goal is to reduce waste on all levels, okay? Here, I also have some garlic powder, organic garlic powder. Now, organic is really, really important when we're choosing our garlic, especially, but all spices, really. Particularly because garlic, if it's non-organic, it goes through a bleaching process. I know. Why would they put garlic through a bleaching process? It's a weird cosmetic thing, but it also, especially if you're somebody like me who loves to use garlic on a regular basis, it can be a really negative thing, right? So on a daily basis, getting that bleach, right? So we want to stay away from that. So this is organic garlic powder, also found in the bulk section, but you can find lots of different brands that are selling the organic garlic powder. The pasta water is getting boiling, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. Here we've got, again, the Banza brand of pasta. It's the same shell shape that we love. So I'm gonna come on in here. Now the water's boiling. That's an important piece, especially says my Italian boyfriend. He taught me how to make pasta the right way. Never put it in when the water's not boiling, otherwise it sticks and it's a whole mess. So shout out to my Italian man for teaching me the right way of how to make pasta. So we've got that in there. Now the trick is with gluten-free pasta is you have to keep an eye on it because it can go wrong really fast. So each one has kind of the instructions here on the back, and they're a little bit different. Typically around 9 minutes is what you want, but always stir, always test it out. So I'm just gonna give this a little bit of a stir here. Let that do its thing and still run it on high on a rolling boil. Now I'm gonna talk about a few other things here. Let's go right into the topper. So this is a beautiful topper that I made before I came here. This is it's just simply roasted chickpeas. And then the secret to the sauce, for the cheese sauce that I have, is actually roasted butternut squash. So what I did was I used just a can of garbanzo beans, which you can find literally next to the black beans, okay? So I took a can of organic garbanzo beans, I rinsed them, drained them, put them on a regular oven-safe pan, okay? I like to use glass. And then also too, on a side note, this is a green pan, okay? So pay attention to what materials you're cooking with because toxins can be released if you're using things like Teflon, plastic, stuff like that, okay? So again, back to the garbanzo beans, the roasted, which are a nice little crunch. See that? You heard that. So I just put the garbanzo beans on a glass pan. I pat them dry with a paper towel, drizzle them with a little bit of this, not so much, just a tiny bit, as well as garlic powder and Himalayan pink sea salt, all right? And then not only that, but it's pumpkin season. It's also pumpkin seed season. Nobody ever said that that any other seed was not available. So I like to use everything, again, being a sustainable business. Give this a little stir. And so when I gutted the butternut squash, I actually also took out the seeds and I placed them in the pan with the garbanzo beans. You want to heat up your oven to about 400 degrees. Make sure that, again, you kind of remove the pumpkin or the butternut squash from the seed as best as you can and just lay it all flat, just one nice layer. Put that in the oven along with the butternut squash, right? Cut it up in quarters. I'll go ahead and show that. This is what it looks like already cooked, okay? So you just wanna put the butternut squash flat down in just a separate pan with about this much water, all right? And again, cook both things on 400. The garbanzo beans take just probably around 40 minutes to get real crisp, all right? So that's the first thing that you wanna do, is definitely get that in as you're getting everything else ready to go. The pasta is really the last thing that you wanna do. So I'm stirring this and I feel the hardness of the shells, all right? It's really easy to know when the shells are, when they're done and when they're not, because you're gonna feel them soft against the spoon versus knocking around like a shell. Now we're gonna get into the sauce, all right? So while that pasta's cooking, I'm gonna come in here. This is the Vitamix. I love and adore the Vitamix. It is a lifesaver for anybody who's trying to do healthy eating, healthy cooking, all that good stuff. I mean, the Vitamix is a special, special addition to the kitchen. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pop these roasted butternut squash in here, all right? And then I'm gonna come in with a tiny bit of avocado oil. What's nice about the Vitamix is that it's so powerful. These are roasted and they're chilled. But by the time I blend it up, it's gonna be hot because that's how powerful this blender is, all right? And here, just a tiny little bit of sea salt. And then here, I've got 1 handful of cashews and then another. And again, what's beautiful about these recipes is that you can do what you want with them. You can even put the cashews on the top if you want when you're done. I'm doing the same. I'm a hands-on kind of cook. I don't like to measure things that often, so I got a handful of nutritional yeast. And another one, because I like it cheesy. And here, garlic powder, 1 pinch, 2 pinches. I'm gonna go a little extra because I love me some garlic. And again, up to your interpretation. Feel it out, literally. Now here is a unique little addition. We've got a little bit, yep, still cooking, still going. We got a little bit of organic coconut milk from a can, full fat, right? So you can get this in the international section of any grocery store by the Thai food. Now, I'm just gonna use a little bit. You wanna shake it up, make sure that the coconut cream is even. Just gonna use a little bit to add to the creaminess here. Again, we've got Field Day Organic. Some of you may have seen this brand. Just gonna go ahead, do a little splash there. About 2 tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons, not a big deal. And now, I put enough liquid in there, but just to make it stretch a little bit more, I have a little bit of organic water here, or organic water, filtered water, just a dash. Again, about a tablespoon. Now, I'm gonna blend this up. It's gonna be a little loud. Got my stopper here. Now, some of y'all just watch that blender go for about 2.5 minutes, all powerful and whatnot, and you're like, well, I can't make this. I don't have a Vitamix. News just in, you can still make it, okay? No matter what kind of blender you have, once the butternut squash is right out the oven, it's already gonna be warm, right? It's already gonna be hot. You just put it in a quarter at a time with your liquid, all right? Make sure that you just slowly add to your blender, okay? Again, I put everything in at once because that's the Vitamix for you. Again, fully recommend a Vitamix, save up for it, add it to your wish list. It's amazing. But if you don't have one, no worries, just slowly feed the blender a little bit at a time. It's not that big of a deal because the butternut squash is soft, so it shouldn't be a harm to your blender whatsoever. Now, the pasta here is almost done. I'm gonna just go ahead and test one, but I can already tell it's not quite done. So it's almost there, almost there. So I'm gonna let that go for just a little bit longer. And then it's simple, bada bing, bada boom. We're gonna put it in the bowl, mix it with the sauce, top it with these nice little crunchy additions, which I love. And then our sprouts, and it's beautiful. You can also turn it into kind of like a vegan mac casserole if you wanted to. You can lay it out in a pan. You can dust it again with your favorite nuts, your favorite seeds, whether that's crushed up cashews or crushed up almonds. You can dust it on the top in your oven baked pan, throw it in the oven for about 15 minutes, and then everything just kind of congeals nicely together. Again, when you're trying dairy free, when you're trying vegan options, a lot of it's psychological. A lot of it is we just want that Velveeta-like consistency. We just want something that's creamy and yellow and gooey and yummy like the cheese we grew up with, right? This is the perfect consistency to match that. So that's what we're here to do. All right, everybody. So here we've got the pasta already strained and in the bowl. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add my vegan cheese. We're just gonna mix it all in. Just pay attention to this color. Wow! If it comes to color and texture, you're not missing anything. And the beauty about this color is that it's 100% natural. This color that you see here is not from a toxic dye, which is definitely the case when you're using big brand name cheeses that come off this color. Stay away. There's chemicals added, there's coloring added you do not want in your food, you don't want in your children's food, because over time, especially if mac and cheese is a weekly staple in your family, those chemicals add up in the body and they do cause problems. Mark my words, keep it natural, folks, keep it absolutely natural. You can get nature, all the colors of the rainbow stem from nature, okay? So make sure that it's all natural. So here, oh wow, this is cheesy. I'm just stirring this all up in here, getting it all together. And this is one box, good for either a side, family of 4. So that's just this beautiful color. I'm gonna go over here and show you. Look at that. Cheesy without being cheesy. Love it. I'm gonna just put some of this in a bowl. Such a beautiful color. Again, nature's colors here. Nature's colors here, people. Amazing. Bada bing. Beautiful. I'm gonna take some of this topper here. I'm gonna add that to the top. Because I love textures in food. I love textures in food. It's the piece that reminds us of home, honestly. And it's just, I'm a huge crunchy fan, but obviously we want to do that in a healthy way. So again, these are just the toasted garbanzo beans and the toasted seeds from the butternut squash itself. So cool. These are rinsed already. These are the sprouts that go on top. And there you have it, folks. A beautiful version of mac and cheese that's also healthy for you and the family. So pretty. I'm such a foodie, I tell ya.